Joint talks continue between the government and opposition in quest to select a chair of the Guyana Elections Commission, and government expresses full confidence in Finance Minister Winston Jordan. It's Wednesday, July 10. These and more in today's news. President David Granger has carried out the directive of the Caribbean Court of Justice in ensuring a consensus is met on who will be the next GCOM chair, following an invitation by the president to initiate talks last week between himself and the leader of the opposition and a cordial meeting held. Joint talks continued on July 9 between the two sides to hammer out nominees for the post. Representatives of the government and the parliamentary opposition met on July 9 at Castellani House in their search for a chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission.
For the 11 names, the 4 are shortlisted, 2 are under active consideration, and 5 have been rejected with reasons given.
Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, gave his take on how today's talks went.
I think the meeting was very progressive because we had, as I explained to you, what happened with the 11 names that they submitted. And so that is a fact, and there is no other way you can interpret it. It's a fact, and so we can be very clear about that. The opposition might very well decide to do something separate, but we agreed that what will be communicated to the media will be decisions which have been made at the meeting.
DG Harmon said that all of the names from the coalition government side reflected nominees who offered themselves for public service.
These are citizens of quality, and they've offered themselves for public service, and it is now for the teams that are meeting to hammer out in the hammering out process. Some will fall off and some will remain.
The government side was represented by Vice President and Minister of Public Security Cameron Ramjatan, Minister of Public Health Fowler Lawrence, and the Director General. The opposition representatives were the Chief Whip of the PPPC, Gail Teixeira, and Members of Parliament Anil Nandalal and Juan Ejel. From Castellani House on Homestretch Avenue, Paul McAdam for InfoHub. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu today restated the coalition government's full confidence in the Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu weighed in on the move by a judge to charge the finance minister with contempt after appeals were made by the state against the DIPCON payment.
The law presumes that persons who do certain acts in their official functions, they are not liable in person. And therefore, to seek the imprisonment of a minister for a debt that had accrued or a decision that had been made against the state smacks of vendetta.
The Prime Minister likened the decision to that of judicial wrath.
We believe that this attack on the integrity of the minister was unwarranted. It was unwelcome. And we want to say very openly that all members of the cabinet, all his ministerial colleagues, believe that he has done nothing wrong, and that he is completely exonerated from any shadow of or doubt that he was anything other than honorable. And he has received our full support.
The award stemmed from a payment order made since 2009 under the PPP government. Minister Jordan was threatened with a jail sentence, which was stayed by President David Granger, who used his constitutional powers to order a respite. Minister Jordan noted that such a precedent would not bode well for public servants.
I personally hope that I could get my day at the appeal court to find out whether indeed this is a situation that can happen where a minister can be sued in his personal capacity to pay a judgment that has been made against the state. I mean, if that were to be upheld at the appeal court, then many of us will begin to rethink our public service, if you can be held in contempt for something that you never did.
President Greenlee effected a grant of respite on the court order against the finance minister. This follows the government's move to appeal the judgment ordering the state to pay just over $460.3 million awarded to the Trinidad-based Dipcon Construction Company for road construction works. The government had inherited the state debt owed to the company for contracts completed but not paid for by the former PPP administration. Maikoni farmers have expressed relief following swift action by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure to employ corrective measures following a breach of the earthen embankment. DPI accompanied a team from the ministry on Tuesday as they conducted assessments at the affected areas.
After every storm comes a calm. Tragedy struck last week when a portion of the Sea Defense earthen embankment in Danzig, Maikoni collapsed, resulting in the surrounding agricultural lands being inundated by floodwaters.
Two rice farmers in Maikoni spoke about the effects of the floodwaters on their land and also gave their opinions on the intervention by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure.
With the salt water coming from the sea, got damage up all the land, the salt left on the land for long. Then come for us, when we report the matter, then come for us, then send some machine for full up the canal and so.
They react fast. It was very quick. I was pleased with the work, as you can see from the inside Bellany Canal. They're building that to stop the what's happening in water. Salt will come into our rice land further. If you watch back here, is my rice land. Salt water did get in, but not as much, because the dam was keeping on the cocoa, they start blowing the cocoa and stuff. So affect my cattle in the back though, but they seen their way because, like I said, the water receding, and since the excavator came, they did a great job.
To get an expert's view on the corrective measures undertaken, a senior technician within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure provided the details.
The remedial works entail where there's a complete failure of the earthen embankment to reconstruct the earthen embankment, place a geotextile fabric.
Measures have also been taken to stop the salt waters from entering the nearby canals that farmers tend to rely on.
The farmers had raised concern of salt water intrusion into the irrigation system. And what they have requested is to build a cofferdam across the drainage canal, the irrigation canal. The ministry provided a long-boom excavator to construct the cofferdam.
Over in Broomhall, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure would have been making some headway in strengthening some of the sea defenses along the vulnerable stretches.
There were two sections of works completed, temporary in nature. The one here at Broomhall is 85 meters of rock work, and there's another section at Prospect, which is 240 meters.
Reported from the Sea Defense breach in Maikoni with videographer Tage Baldbridge-Mahan, Shaquille Bourne, for InfoHub.
The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Pro Futuro Foundation, today launched Pro Futuro Guyana as part of its efforts geared at advancing the education sector.
Guyana is the first country in the Caribbean to launch the Pro Futuro project. The project targets close to 400 teachers and over 5,000 students at the primary level in Regions 1, 6, and 10. Minister of Education Dr. Nicolette Henry at Wednesday's launch said the project will change the way students solve problems, research information, and learn as Guyana advances in the global digital era.
I believe a robust education is the single most important development, witnessing certainly the catapultion of traditional education to digital learning, particularly during this phase of global technological advancement, which I believe should stimulate and encourage our collaborative determination.
Minister Henry noted that the current education system prevents students from developing the wealth of skills for the 21st century. She believes that schools must develop conducive environments where ideas can be tested and students encouraged to utilize their senses and imagination.
It is my view that a robust education system is one that does not operate in silos, but one that highlights and encourages integration. Whether you live in the hinterland or not, you must be exposed to good quality education.
Chief Education Officer Dr. Marshall Hudson said the project will be used to advance the delivery of education in Guyana, that is, providing quality, equity, and inclusive education to all.
We recognize that it is important that we ensure that all our children are captured if we are going to do a good job. For many years, we have always advocated that we need to move beyond chalk and talk and find our children, find ways to engage our children and to motivate them so that they could be integrally involved in the teaching and learning process.
The project is expected to be expanded countrywide. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Still to come, Kingston Bond officially commissioned and the first annual Regional Tourism Review session hosted. Details when we return.
Are you ready to embark on a truly epic adventure to an undiscovered corner of South America, where some of the most spectacular natural attractions are unveiled within a beautifully diverse landscape? From the wetlands and savannas to the ancient mountains, magnificent waterways and lush enriching rainforest would provide a vast playground for some of the most exotic and breathtaking creatures on the planet, including many of the world's giant species. This untouched land of mystery and wonder serves up an exclusive experience for travelers. So are you ready for a new, awe-inspiring adventure? Welcome back to nature. Welcome to Guyana.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Public Health's Central Supplies Unit, also known as the Kingston Drug Bond, was today commissioned and dubbed one of the ministry's major accomplishments.
Valued at $539 million, the Central Supplies Unit located in Kingston provides more capacity for the storage of drugs, medical supplies, and other critical equipment used within the public health sector.
I believe that this is the story of the fast-moving bond, is a story of the government in the last 4 years, where even the casual critic would say that it was almost impossible to do so much in such a short time. But it is what has happened over the last 4 years, that we've been looking for an alternative site, and this is a proof, an edifice. This edifice is proof of the determination that we must and we should overcome our challenges.
Public Health Minister Valda Lawrence hailed this project as one of the APNU-AFC coalition government's biggest accomplishments to date. She noted that for some time, the Auditor General's report had outlined various deficiencies regarding the storage of drugs.
Today's commissioning of the Central Supplies Unit is testimony to the ministry's seriousness, AG, in upholding the law and its firm resolve of fulfilling its mandate to its staff and the people of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
Together, these two facilities allow the ministry to store more drugs and medical supplies while efficiently dispatch to health facilities all requests for items. From the Ministry of Public Health's Central Supplies Unit in Kingston, Georgetown, with videographer Leon Leung, I am Delicia Haynes for InfoHub.
With more significant efforts being employed by the Department of Tourism for the decentralization of tourism planning, the first annual Regional Tourism Review session was held today.
The region-led tourism development approach will give each region the opportunity to develop their unique tourism product, offering that will cater for both local and foreign visitors. It is my hope that today's session will be productive as we report on your tourism accomplishments and challenges as well as priorities for 2020.
It is with this expectation in mind that Minister of Business Hemraj Rajkumar declared the first ever Regional Tourism Review session open. The concept of regional tourism is aimed at following with legislation which calls for the involvement of as many people as possible in the task of managing and developing the communities in which they live.
In other words, what we're doing is we're spreading the planning, I won't say down, but out to the level of the regions, involving them more and more, bringing in municipalities, bringing in sub-districts in the planning of tourism, so that tourism planning is not Georgetown-centered.
This is critical in ensuring that every region is able to carefully manage its niche tourism type, thereby creating unique experiences for each region while highlighting the need for localized planning.
Regional tourism product should revolve around each region's strength and uniqueness. For example, we know that regions 2, 3, 6, and 6 are especially strong in agriculture. So there should be no reason why agro-tourism cannot thrive in these regions.
Tourism in Guyana has undergone exponential growth in recent years, and with initiatives like these being employed, we can only expect greater growth in the years to come. From the Herdmanston Lodge in Queenstown with videographer Kareem Peters, I'm Nkosi Bruce for InfoHub.
That's all for today. Connect with us on WhatsApp, Facebook, and YouTube. Much more news is on our website, dpi.gov.gy, and pop over to Instagram for the latest photo updates at DPI Guyana. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Goodbye for now.